Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the latest edition of the slowest growing Battlebots podcast in all of creation. I am your never popular host, Jack Finney, and across me on the other side of the world is a man who will happily buy you a Gargura figurine for Christmas, Australia's greatest export, Makon Crayley, the Mac. How are you doing today, Mac?
Yeah, I'm good. Like, I don't have anything to know you with, so, like, yeah, I'm good.
You were expecting me to be a bit more biting, weren't you?
Hello, but you usually bury me in these. Sorry.
Well,
yeah.
Well, I guess there was a first time for everything, wasn't there?
I mean, exactly. Like, sometimes it's just gonna be nice, you know? Sometimes you just don't be mean.
Yeah, I mean, you know me. I'm not the type of person to hold grudges. Unlike what we saw in this episode tonight, as it was grudge match after grudge match in this Bad Blood edition of BattleBots. A stacked card from top to bottom. Oh, Mac, what a fight card do we have here, eh?
Yeah, these families hate each other. And at least one of them did battle with each other. The other family just sort of did their own thing. Like cowards!
Yep, in this... Yeah, in this episode, we saw established teams take on rookie sensations. We saw old grudges renewed, so a little bit of revenge in some cases, and attempted revenge in others. We saw inter-family squabbles, and we even saw the young guard versus the old masters. That card, from top to bottom, with every fight on paper looking like a banger, or at least a good degree of fun. And Mac, taking us through the card, we were super hyped going into this episode, weren't we?
Yeah, this is a very strong card, like, and once we go through the episode, it was a very strong episode, because, honestly, this is, like, a really diverse, like, set of matches. Like, almost every, like, match is, like, a different type of robot.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of variety from top to bottom in this episode, as well as a great demonstration bout for one of the new rookie teams, and like I said before, a bunch of grudge matches and just some all-around classic bouts to be seen in this episode. There's a lot to enjoy in this episode.
Yeah, absolutely. And kicking things up, we have Team Waiatzi's Hydra versus Free Shipping, the first of the Waiatzi duo matches.
Ah, yes, and the first grudge match of the episode as well. Free Shipping and Hydra have fought before, with Hydra getting the better of Free Shipping in that exchange. This was back when Free Shipping was still equipped with its lifter configuration rather than its spinner configuration, and on this occasion, Gary Jin, looking for revenge, opted to trot out the original Sing configuration of Free Shipping, which looks to be the most effective addition of Free Shipping that we've seen in the modern era. Of course, Hydra coming in as brutally powerful as it always does. Great intro for Free Shipping in this fight, and it was a very important fight for Hydra's seeding as well, potentially, considering how their last fight went. It seemed like it was going to be a tough driving fight for both of these teams, and ultimately this is going to be the fight that really helps determine Hydra's seeding later in the tournament, because I believe after this fight, down the line, it's going to have to fight Sawblaze, isn't it?
I believe so. Let me just fact check that. Yes.
Right, and yeah, that on paper, that's a toss-up. That could go any which way.
It could.
Between those two teams.
And you know what the way it might go? It's probably going to go up, right into the air.
Yeah. Well played, well played.
That's like Free Shipping this episode.
Then again, it could go all the way down, like right into Hydra's bodywork if Sawblaze were to bite right through it. But we're getting ahead of ourselves.
True.
Speaking of going up diddly up, Hydra started this one out super strongly, as right away took things off to a flipping good start, didn't it, Mac?
It did. It just fucking flipped. Free Shipping all over the place. I think Free Shipping only really got like one hit in, and that was incredible.
Yeah, it was, and even then, it was more of a glancing blow than anything. Flips, not really the right word for what Hydra was doing to Free Shipping, if we're being honest. It was punting it all over the arena. It was just kicking the absolute living shit out of it with every flip. shaking bits of it off in the air. Free shipping completely unable to answer Hydra at all. Even with its big wedgelets attached, it could not get underneath Hydra's seamless ground game in this fight. Absolute squash match here as Gary Jin got shaken to pieces with every thunderous impact, as Jake Ewart seemed to set out with a mission, and that was to set his all-time highest amount of flips, an all-time Battlebots flipper record, surely, with 20 flips inflicted on original shipping. Original shipping, in this case. You know what? I'm sticking to that. Original shipping got thrown into the air 20 times for a total of 54 seconds of airtime, and it hit, I believe, the 17 punts mark before it seemed to finally die. And with the dying seconds of the fight, Jake went out of his way to get a few extra flips in to set his new record of 20 flips. And yeah, it went to a judge's decision, but it was completely academic. It was not in any way even the remotest bit close, although credit does have to be given to Gary for having a robust enough machine that it survived as long as it did.
I mean, true, but at the same time, its guts were basically falling out of it by the time the match ended.
Yep, like we said, Hydra kicked the absolute shit out of it.
Yeah, this was a very fun match. Hydra is that's a really good robot. Holy fuck.
It really is. It's a potential champion, and it really all just comes down to how the tournament is laid out. And once again, Jake proving himself to be such a great heel.
Oh, yeah.
He's still somehow very likable, even as he talks trash and does all of this, because he's a great guy.
He's smarmy. He's a very smarmy guy.
Yes. He's the guy you love to hate. I think it's because we know that underneath he is, by all accounts, a really nice guy.
Yeah. So he knows
he just loves to He loves to entertain.
He knows how
and
to
that's
play
why he plays the villain so well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, just like Ray Billings.
Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah. True.
So yeah, shout out to Hydra in this one for doing such a fantastic job with just showing the raw power that a flipper can really have, because original shipping, very, very robust machine, has taken some absolute monster shots over the years, and they just kicked it to death with this one. Bronco would have been proud.
Yeah. Yeah, a much improved showing than last time with Blip. Not Blip, Tantrum, even. Same
look,
team.
Mike, I know that they're from the same team, but come on.
I mean, look, they're basically the same robot. Let's put them side to side right now. See, you can't tell the difference. Okay, maybe that one has a bit more.
I'm not with him, everybody. I have no. Okay, I'm not with him, everybody. I have no association with this man.
Wait, hang on a minute. But you know who does have an association though? Fusion. He has an association with Hydra.
Ah, yes, the second of our Team Waiachi belts for the evening, and another grudge match. Although in this case, it was against Team Waiachi as a whole, rather than specifically against Resewer and Fusion. This time, it was Huge, and Team Huge coming into this with a big grudge against Team Waiachi after the incident a couple of years ago with the famous cow catcher. Now, whether or not you believe that that was a fair decision, the way that all transpired in the past, at this point, we're not going to get anything done by debating it on here. But yeah, Aaron Hill came into this one clearly out for blood and with revenge on his mind.
Yeah, even though it was a moot point, he wanted revenge, regardless.
Oh, yeah. It's obviously, he's waiting until, he actually gets to go up against Hydra in earnest. But it seems that right now he was going to settle for taking it out on Fusion and Reese Ewart. Now, Reese did come into this one with a defined game plan as well. He was coming in supporting a specific setup for Huge in order to be able to take advantage of the wheels, going after it specifically with the horizontal spinner, with the vertical spinner practically disabled. He made a point of equipping a smaller vertical setup than he normally would, although in this case it may have ultimately been a little bit more beneficial if he could have removed the vert spinner entirely and instead managed to fit for example, a heavier armor configuration on Fusion. But that's a matter for later. In any case, Huge came in with its own specific setup to fight a horizontal spinner like Fusion with thicker wheels that seemed to be made out of some kind of Kevlar from the look of it, didn't they, Matt?
Yes, it was pretty much like the it was the Batmobile fucking aesthetic again. Like that, because I think they used that like before, like a season ago or so. They're bringing that every now and then.
Now, in the pre-fight interviews for this, Reese actually seemed very down to earth and humble, and he seemed to be fairly matter of fact, like seemed to be quite optimistic, but at the same time, grounded expectations. And we made a point of this, didn't we, Mac? While we were watching the episode, if you really look at it, Jake, he's the more brash, loudmouthed showman of the two, whereas Reese a little bit more quiet, reserved. He's like Jake is the outright heel of the two, whereas Reese is more of the babyface. And when you really think about it, in like Team Waiachi is the Bloodline, Jake is Roman Reigns, Reese is Jey Uso, or Sami Zayn if you like as well. That one also works, considering the beard.
Oh god, Jake's gonna make he's just gonna make Reese bleed all over the place when they fight. Oh god, then they're gonna have a third
Fusion
person
versus
come
Hydra.
in. God,
Fusion versus Hydra, that would be an excellent fight.
Oh, absolutely. Like that's gotta happen at some point. Like I don't know when, but at some point.
I really hope it does. In any case, however, we finally got into the actual bout between Huge and Fusion, and it didn't last long. But it was in a very impressive way. Now, both of these two managed to land some very good hits on each other. Fusion's horizontal spinner actually managed to tear the shit out of one of Huge's big Kevlar wheels to the point that there was an absolutely monstrous gash torn in it. And with a few more hits, who knows, they could have actually swung this fight their way. However, Huge was set up in just the right way to really be able to take advantage using its special spinning attachment for this one to, complement its Kevlar-based wheels, and managed to pop Fusion open like a can of tuna as it just hit it, as it landed two big hits on it that seemed to disable one side of its drive, and then hit a massive hit that straight up tore the armor on top clean off. And at that point, Fusion was dead in the water and got counted out.
Yep. He pretty much scalped him, basically.
Yeah, that's straight up what he did. Huge scalped Team Waiachi in revenge. Oh boy. Now, you gotta remember... Yeah. Remember what we've seen so far, Mac. Fusion is tough as nails this year. So for Huge to knock it out in 3 hits, that is insanely powerful.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like Huge has not had a good past few seasons, but like it feels like it is back where it was like that first time we saw it. Like it is.
Yeah, the first season. Again. The first season we saw Huge, very few robots were well equipped to properly fight it. Like, there were very few who could really hold up to it, and it was ultimately only when it went up against Ice Wave that it finally met its match, and it sustained such serious damage that ultimately it got ripped in half in both that fight and its following fight where they could barely repair the damage. But this time, Aaron Hill has really gone out of his way to step up his driving abilities in the off-season, and Huge is back with a vengeance. Huge is an absolute monster. It has evolved into a god beast, and it all seems to be dialed in. This could be the year where it's set to make a deep run into the tournament. It's first in a few years. And could we possibly be They made a point of highlighting that it was kind of a meta-breaking robot, didn't they?
Yeah, honestly, yeah, it is. Cause like,
could this be a year where could we see it go all the way to the title?
It's possible because like this is definitely a season where we've definitely said this like many times before already this season, but like this is a season where essentially anybody could win it. Like there's no one team that that, you know, that you can just point to and say, oh yeah, they're absolutely winning for sure. Like, this is a season more than I think any other previous season where, like, literally anything could happen.
You can make a case for something like 20 different teams at this point, and considering there are 50 teams in the competition, that's saying something.
Exactly.
Like, I could absolutely see Huge go all the way to the crown this time. Like, its next fight is against Starchild, so we could very well see it finish this season 4-0 undefeated, and considering the quality of its wins, it could well end up with, like, possibly one of the top 4 seeding slots.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
One thing's for sure, I am here for all of it. Huge is amazing this year, and even with this, considering how strong Huge is at this point, even if it did fall in free hits, what free hits those took to take Fusion out. Fusion, I think, is still going to make it into the tournament, depending on how its next fight goes. But, you know, one way or another, even if it's whether or not it has a higher seed or not, I think we're going to see Fusion in the tournament.
Yeah, like, I can see it definitely in the, like, the bottom, like, brackets. Like, either bottom or, like, lower middle, you know?
So it would have a harder fight to get a deep run into the tournament, but it could still do it.
Yeah, it could. Because, like, they seem to be more on point than, like, they have ever been. So, yeah, here's hoping.
Oh yeah, it's like Fusion has had nothing to be ashamed of so far. It had a great fight against the Emulsifier, and it had a great fight against Witch Doctor, where it very nearly won. And now, like, yeah, this could be considered a worse kind of loss up against Huge, but considering the power of Huge this year, it's still nothing to be ashamed of, and they could still come back and get it with the next one.
I mean, true, and like as you said before, like if they if things turned out like slightly better, like if Huge didn't get that hidden, like there's a chance he could have taken the wheels out. So who knows? Like next time, if they meet up in the tournament, who knows what happened?
Yeah, a couple more hits, and yeah, I think we could have been looking at this quite differently. But that's for later to determine. Next, we had an old legend versus one of the rookie sensations, the monster veteran that is Donald Hudson, and Lockjaw versus the one half of the reigning rookies of the year, Glitch. A very important fight for Glitch to be able to get back on their feet after their last fight, but Donald is a rough opponent for anybody, no matter what your robot is. And here, we really saw that experience come into play, didn't we, Matt? It was Donald's over 19 years of robot combat experience. Actually, I think it's like, I think he started competing back in the 1990s, didn't he?
I believe so, yeah. Like he's living legend. Yeah, with that in mind, we saw his experience on display up against Glitch's 1 year of experience, as he circled like an absolute predator, timed it right, picked his spot, and landed one big hit that was enough to finish Glitch off. And yeah, Lockjaw did end up going up in flames for a moment, but a good strong hit was all that was needed in order to be able to get that big win. Yeah, like
and at this point, yeah, and this was a very rough thing for Glitch. Could it be that last year was a fluke? Because so far, well, I'm not going to say it was a fluke. I'm not going to say it was a fluke personally, because it did do very well last year. It is having a rough run this year, though.
Yeah. Okay.
Now,
so
granted, that's up against the monster that is Riptide, and the veteran that is Donald Hudson, and they're clearly still trying to get everything dialed back in. But so you never know, they could come back stronger. But yeah, Lockjaw certain to make the tourney this year, which is good after last year where it went 0-3, and as a result got shut out completely. I'm quite glad to know that Donald is going to be making it into the tournament, because it's always great to see him in there. Glitch is looking a little shaky going into this. Will they be able to bounce back? We'll have to wait and see. My apologies if I'm being a little bit marble-mouthed this episode, everybody. I seem to be somewhat under the weather and have something up with my throat, so as a result, I seem to be a little bit shaky myself.
I mean, look, even so, you sure do love to talk.
I
mean,
am
I mean,
too much, aren't I?
I mean, look, to be fair, like you're good at it. Like that, you're the talker, so I'm fine with that. Like, cause like I forgot what I was even gonna say, so like it doesn't really matter. But yeah, but yeah, like yeah, this was a oh that's right, yeah. So yeah, I wouldn't say like that that glitch was like God, I forget the word now. Like, it doesn't. Oh yeah, it doesn't feel like they last season was a fluke so much because like they proved that their weapon is like strong. Like it's enough to like take out like any robot. But like, I guess more than anything, we're seeing like the design flaws of like the current glitch design right now. Like more than anything, because like glitch does not feel like it's been like changed like since last season. Like, other than, like, maybe fixing, like, the, like, control a bit, but, like, other than that, you know, it's, like, pretty much the exact same robot it was last season.
I see. Yeah, that would make sense. And Lockjaw, we know that we've seen always improving because, you know, Donald Hudson always finding new ways to make Lockjaw work out. And, you know, aside from, like, that little bit of fire, Lockjaw looking very strong.
Yeah, the fire! it basically just farted in Glitz's face.
Well, this is the thing, Mac. It wouldn't be Battlebots if Lockjaw didn't burst into flames at least once, would it?
I mean, we need at least one fire every episode. is by law.
Will it only be one this episode? We'll find out a little bit later on.
Yes. But yeah, like, this was an unfortunate fight for Glitz. Hopefully they bounce back, but like, I don't know, this is like probably the learning season, like, the learning season for them, like, to know what they need to add to Glitz to like, I guess to become more viable, more than anything, like, instead of lucking out, I guess.
Perhaps. But up next, we come to another instance of the old legend versus the young up-and-comers, as we finally, after years and years of waiting, finally got what is hands down my most anticipated fight of this episode that I have been wanting to see ever since the latter of these two debuted. Beta finally going up against Shatter. Now, this one, Battle of the Hammerbots, it's hammer time, and oh, Mac, I was so here for this. Adam had also talked about the influence that John and his machines have had on his own robots. They actually had a really nice little mention of that in the hype package for this fight as well. We got a real sense of just what a legend John Reed is in the robot combat community, with the reverence that everybody referred to him both before and after this fight. My caption for this is "Never fight your heroes," and unfortunately for Adam Wrigley, that proved to be very true in this one, didn't it?
Yeah, like Beta, like yeah, I got that. I actually had to pause to think. Oh yeah, did I get that right? Yes, yeah. Beta basically just beat its ass like all over the place.
Yeah, there were great intros for both machines, and this was ultimately going to come down to Shatter's omnidirectional driving versus John Reed's peerless driving ability. Now, remember, John Reed has spent more than 20 years establishing himself as the premier robot combat pilot in the UK, and he competed all the way back in the very first season of Battlebots with Kilohertz as well, from what I remember. And as where he actually won an award for his driving skill as well. And despite that one incident in Robot Wars Series 3 where he drove into the pit because he didn't realize it was there, because, like, you know, he'd been competing in Battlebots with Kilohertz before that and forgot that the Robot Wars arena had a pit, John Reed's driving over the years, other than that one time, has spoken for itself. It is relentlessly aggressive, precisely controlled, and utterly fearless. That is John Reed behind the stick. And yeah, that spoke for itself in this fight. This one was just, like you said, Mac, it was an ass beating, put simply. We saw why John Reed is the most legendary Hammerbot driver in robot combat today, as it just bullied Shatter all over the arena and blasted it with over 20 hammer blows, bending its armor panels like a banana, even hitting it directly on the weapon motor at one point and breaking the weapon. Shatter couldn't land anything on Beta in this fight. And that's a testament to just how brilliant John Reed's driving is, because Shatter, very well driven itself, especially with its, ludicrous omnidirectional steering as well, makes it very, very difficult to fight. John made it look like child's play.
Yeah, Shatter pretty much only got like 2 hits here, like both was like on the armor. Like he did basically
glancing
no
blows at best.
Yeah, it's like fucking wrestler like chopping Walter, basically. He's just no-selling it.
This is basically the you dare oppose me, mortal meme.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So you're approaching
and
me.
Yeah, so this ultimately went to a judge's decision, but like earlier, it was completely academic. This was just an ass-beating from start to finish, and Beta easily took the unanimous decision in this, and it was great to see just how well Beta performed in all of this, because some people were still sore about the victory over Kraken, feeling that Kraken deserved that win. I disagree, but of course I'm going to disagree in that situation. Yeah, this one just a great showcase for Beta's skill, and it was really, really cool to see how emotional Adam Wrigley was about finally getting to share the box with John Reed, finally getting to fight his hero. And it was like you could see he didn't even care that he lost. He was just so happy to have gotten to fight him.
Yeah,
it was a great display of sportsmanship.
Yeah, he was very emotional.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's okay. I interrupted you. Yeah, like he was very emotional. Like John gave him a nice pat on the back.
Yeah, because you could see John really appreciated what Adam was saying as well. Right. So this is the thing. I know through the grapevine, John doesn't like he's a quiet guy. He doesn't like excessive fanboying, but you can see that he really does appreciate just how much the people within the robot combat community look up to him, because he's acted as a mentor figure for many different teams, because so many teams grew up watching him competing in Robot Wars and in the older iterations of Battlebots as well. So as a result, he's looked at as something of a guru, almost like a Master Roshi figure within the robot combat community. And you know what? It's just really awesome to see him getting the respect he deserves for being the legend he is. And you can tell he really appreciates it.
Absolutely, he deserves it so much.
Yeah, and we could see Beta go very far this year. Who's Beta due to fight next?
See, how many fights has he had so far? Is it 2 or 3?
2 so far.
2 so far. So
2.
He has Bloodsport
so
at
against
the
Kraken
end of the season.
And against Shatter.
Yeah. And let me see who his next opponent was again.
Oh, I remember who it was now. Black Dragon.
Black Dragon! Yes, there it is.
Now that, in and of itself, is a very interesting fight.
It is.
The smart money is probably on Black Dragon in that situation. Beta historically hasn't fared too well against vertical spinners. But we've also seen just how brilliantly Beta is driven, so I think if anybody could outdrive Black Dragon, it would be John Reed.
That's true, but can he outpower Black Dragon? That's the real question.
Yeah, would Beta be capable of knocking Black Dragon out? That's a very, very tall order, because as we've seen, Black Dragon has, as of this episode, never been KO'd, has it?
No, yeah. No KOs, or at least not in a row. Actually, no, yeah, I don't think ever even. But yeah,
never. Monsoon was set to be the first one to do that, but then they drove over that stray bolt and destroyed their weapon motor. That was such a shame. But as of this episode, Black Dragon has gone 22 fights without being knocked out. So
yeah, it depends. Yeah. It depends on where he hit. If he can get a hit in the sweet spot.
And if he can survive long enough as well, because Black Dragon, when it hits hard.
That's true. That's very true. There's a good chance that Black Dragon could just drive up fucking Beta and take the hammer out.
Yeah, this is the thing. I hate having to bet against John Reed in any of these situations, but I think even for him, this would be a massive uphill battle. But I think if anybody's game enough for it, it's him. So we'll see.
Yeah, that'll be a good fight when we get to it.
As for Shatter, who is Shatter due to fight next, Mike? Because so far, I believe they've gone 0-2 this season, haven't they?
Shatter. Yes. Shatter is up against Horizon next. So that's a win. And Shatter and Ominous.
Okay, so could we see Shatter recover from this? Possibly. We'll just have to wait and see. But Adam Wrigley is and his team, they are very capable Roboteers, so I'm looking forward to seeing how it all works out for them.
Yeah. Should be good to see. But you know,
and up next, we had... yes, Mac, take it away. Take it away.
Yeah, so speaking of Black Dragon, up next is Black Dragon versus Quantum. And what a fight this was!
Oh, dude, that's an understatement. This was just absolutely magnificent battle between the two of them. My big note here was, could we see the KO-less streak end here? Quantum having the best shot here. Look at what it did to Duck. Look at what it did to various other machines in the past, like Duck, where it bit it to death despite it being borderline indestructible. But speaking of the Duck, looking at the Duck on Black Dragon here.
Hey. Yeah, that helmet.
Sporting a dragon skull helmet and a sword.
That's awesome. Gonna have armor next time,
yeah.
I bet.
Speaking of armor in this one, Black Dragon came into this with a super thick top plate as well.
This is just the point where this is the part where we do transitions into everything, isn't it?
Yeah, well, speaking of transitions,
hey!
Actually, I don't have anything for there anyway.
Speaking of not having anything,
so that was over before it began.
Okay, but yeah.
Look,
yeah, you can't.
Now, I actually had a note in here that this was going to be an uphill battle for Quantum due to the top armor on Black Dragon possibly being too thick for even Quantum to bite through. We'll come to that in a moment, but it turns out my concerns there were kind of for naught. Black Dragon started out very aggressive coming out into the fight, but Quantum answered very gamely, managing to come in, weather some of the hits, and even managing to get a very, very solid bite in on one of Black Dragon's wheels. It would later ultimately bite into other parts of Black Dragon, including biting a big chunk out of part of the side as well. Some strong hits by Black Dragon, but Quantum managing to fight back with great bites, slamming it all over the arena as well. This ultimately came down to the aggression of Black Dragon versus the control factor of Quantum. Quantum definitely being in control for pretty much the entire fight, and Black Dragon very game, fighting back very strongly, but it ultimately wasn't able to really establish much of a foothold due to how brilliantly driven Quantum was being in this fight. And ultimately, Quantum was getting the better of the two of them in the damage exchanges. That's not to say that Black Dragon didn't inflict damage. It managed to get a few very solid hits in, but Black Dragon, when it was actually biting down, like I said, took a big bite out of part of the side of Black Dragon, bit right through a big panel of it, ripped through a wheel, and ultimately managed to get its teeth right into Black Dragon's weapon and just really sink it down as they slammed them into the wall, where ultimately the two of them could not get unstuck. They ended up driving around for a while, but ultimately they had to stop to try and unstick the two, and because it was within the final minute of the fight, they ultimately had to stop this. The judges themselves entered the arena to inspect the damage, and ultimately it would go to a decision.
Ooh. Yeah, it was incredible.
Now, between the two of us, we were actually on the edge of our seats during this because we couldn't really pick a winner at first glance, could we? It took a little bit of debate between us for us to actually talk ourselves into who we thought was going to win.
Yeah, because like I thought like Quantum had definitely done enough to like get the win. Like it controlled the fight like enough to like get it.
Yeah, at first I was thinking, is Black Dragon going to win? But then the more I thought about it, the more I thought, you know what, actually, yeah, Quantum really should win this fight. Because, like, ultimately it's got more damage and it controlled the fight from start to finish, whereas Black Dragon's main factor in this was its aggression. And ultimately, that was how the judges ended up seeing it, as in a unanimous decision, Quantum ended up walking away with the win. And I gotta say, dude, Quantum is looking near unstoppable this year.
It is, like... Who's it up against next? Oh, Emulsifier, that's right. God, yeah.
Emulsifier is going to be a very big test for them. Quantum looks like its hardest struggle would be up against vertical spinners. As we've seen with Black Dragon in this one. Like, they earned the win very well, but this is a much bigger weapon on Emulsifier than what's on Black Dragon, so that's going to be something to really watch out for.
True.
But this is ultimate. But I think this is going to be Quantum's ultimate test. If they can overcome Emulsifier, the robot looks like one that very few can beat this year, and it's unquestionably, even if it loses that, going into the tournament with a very high seeding.
Oh yeah, it's definitely gonna be top 10, for fucking sure, if not higher.
Yeah, I think if it goes undefeated, it's going to end up with one of the top 4 spots.
Absolutely.
Because so far, nothing has looked like it can stop Quantum. There are a couple of machines I would peg to maybe be able to beat it. I think maybe it would struggle up against Minotaur. Huge is a nightmare opponent for Quantum. Cobalt maybe as well. Yeah. But outside of those 3, I think Quantum beats pretty much anybody.
Actually, Cobalt. Cobalt's probably, the best, counter to it.
Yeah. And even then, Quantum could still pull it off in that situation. In fact, Minotaur, Cobalt, and Huge, and of those, I think only Huge is an absolute lock to be able to beat Quantum. Because Quantum just wouldn't be able to properly get a hold of Huge.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be.
But even then it will be an uphill battle against the other 2.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how this all goes for it.
Absolutely. But one thing's for sure, this was unquestionably fight of the night so far, and one of the best performances in a losing effort we've seen all season in how strongly Black Dragon fought back against Quantum in this one.
Absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, up next. We have a rookie showing up.
One more thing. One more thing. I guess. One more thing, though. I guess in this case, it was Black Dragon who had bitten off more than they could chew rather than Quantum.
Yeah. Go waka waka yourself.
No, waka waka me? Waka waka you?
Waka this.
Speaking of chewing on things, up next we had the dinosaur versus the lawnmower. Terrortops versus Slammo.
Oh man.
One of them chews on meat, the other one chews on grass. Except Slammo isn't an omnivore and doesn't have a spinner.
Oh.
Where was I going with this?
I do not even know. What are you?
All right. One thing's for sure. I was very happy to see Slammo was going to be on this card because I very much like Slammo, as you know, and I actually got the chance to meet Chris Danby at RoboNerd back in 2022, where he was super nice and told me some small info on the upgrades, which of course I've kept my lips sealed about until now because I didn't want to, give anything away. So I was a little bit sad when they weren't selected for the season, so I was glad to see them compete tonight, where they will be serving as the testing ground for another rookie robot, Terrortops. And what an aesthetically pleasing robot, eh, Mac?
Wait, I can't... Jack, you like a new robot? I can't believe it. I thought you hated all the rookies.
I know. I know.
I thought you were Bob Holly. Hate all the rookies. You gotta haze them.
Did you seriously just compare me to fucking Bob Core Holly?
How do you like me now?
I don't like you now.
I mean,
Makon Crayley was never my friend.
Unbelievable. You people. But yeah, Terrortops is a really good. I think I mentioned this in episode 0. I really like the design of Terrortops. Like, it's a very nice looking robot.
Oh,
like,
yeah, definitely.
Like the team seemed very
yeah,
nice.
Great looking robot. Nice. Very nice weapon configuration as well. Got a very powerful spinner on the front, as well as a nice little lifting configuration as well to go with it in order to be able to get a bite. And there's not really much to tell about this fight in and of itself, is there, Mac? I mean, it was a great performance by Terrortops as it came out swinging and just beat the crap out of Slammo.
Yeah, they got to show off the like weapon really well here. Like it worked to perfection. And I like it. I like the set. I like the whole setup of it. Like you just flip it up and whack them.
Slammo's a fairly strong machine in and of itself as well. So Terrortops knocking it out so savagely, that's a very good sign for Terrortops if it does manage to come back next season.
Oh yeah, like there's a few things that like Terrortops can definitely improve on. Like I think the arm going back down like can probably be sped up. I think it, like the weapon was starting to die like sort of at the end, if I remember right. So like that can be improved. But yeah, like for a first showing, like this was a very strong start. I have high hopes.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think they could do to take a leaf out of Stegosaurus's books and focus on some of their ramming speed. Oh! I think that would help out the machine a lot as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because so for the uninformed, Stegosaurus was a Series 3 robot from Robot Wars that focused mainly on ramming power. It had a lifting tail on it, but it didn't really use it, and it won fights by battering its opponents into submission with its ramming speed, to the point where it actually managed to... It finally lost it in the Series 3 Grand Final in the Grand Final Eliminator against Hypnodisc, where Hypnodisc did manage to disable it, but it was ultimately a cursed victory for Hypnodisc because Stegosaurus was actually durable enough that while it ultimately did get immobilized by Hypnodisc, it also inflicted such serious ramming damage to Hypnodisc's internals that it was basically cannon fodder for Chaos 2 in the Grand Final itself.
God.
And I think that Terrortops would really benefit from taking a leaf out of part of that philosophy and upping their ramming speed to go with their powerful weapon. I think it could make it into a very fearsome robot.
Oh, absolutely. We need a new Hypnodisc. I miss Hypnodisc. But yeah,
well, Mac, if Hypnodisc somehow does come to Robo Nerd this year, I will send you pictures.
Dude, I would very much appreciate that. I fucking love Hypnodisc. Hypnodisc is my favorite robot.
What, even now?
Yeah, still even now. Like I love Hypnodisc. I've always been a Hypnodisc mark even. Yeah. Like, cause I don't know. Like I've always loved Hypnodisc. Like, cause there are definitely robots up like now that like are up there for me. But like Hypnodisc has just always been my guy.
Oh yeah, I mean it's an absolute classic in terms of robot combat as well.
Absolutely. But yeah, like Terrortops could become a classic one day. We have to wait and see, because the journey is just getting started.
Yeah, one thing's for sure, I'm very fond of their design, and I really hope this rookie team goes on to big things.
Yeah, they seem very nice. Like, they're very, very polite in their interview.
Yeah, plus, excited. I love their outfits.
Oh yeah, like, it's fucking great. They have the aesthetic down.
And finally, we come to our main event of the evening, the reigning champion, Tantrum, versus the mighty Flipperbot, Blip. It's an all-in-the-family bout as these two very, very close teams who are basically one and the same finally square off against each other.
And what a fight it was.
Yeah. Fight.
Fight. Exclamation mark. I'm not exclamation mark, but I mean exclamation mark actually, yeah, they put a fight there.
Anyway, both of these two robots coming in sporting great configurations for both of them. There was a great hype package for both of these robots throughout the episode as well, as they really hyped up everything behind the two of them. Now, Blip came out, started this super strong. And when I say super strong, I mean they immediately grabbed hold of the horns and did not let go. Blip absolutely crushed this fight, rocking Tantrum with super powerful flips. as it dominated it all over the arena, to the point where Tantrum actually burst into flames at one point.
Oh god. That was incredible.
Yeah, it was just this, like earlier on, we started out with a Savage Flipper beatdown. We finished with a Savage Flipper beatdown.
Yeah, oh wow. Yeah, it's like poetry, it rhymes.
Yeah, it's a nice little book ending for the episode, isn't it? Sadly for Hydra, this time it was not going to be them who was going to be dominating Tantrum with flips.
Hey. The power of the original driver. Like, this is what we got here.
Absolutely. This was just outright domination, and it was glorious.
Like, Blip needed this. Blip absolutely needed this win.
Like, this ultimately went to a judge's decision. Blip completely, with ease, won this decision, and it was awesome.
Yeah, because, like, Blip was sort of on the edge of, like, not making it into the tournament. But I think this fight definitely solidified its spot. Like, it's somewhere on there.
Like, it just beat the ass of the reigning champion severely.
It did. It absolutely did.
Like even any other fights. Right, okay, so up against Minotaur, Tantrum lost, but it looked very competitive in the loss. And it beat Hydra very soundly. Blip just beat the reigning champion's ass, black and blue, all over the arena for the entirety of the main event. That has gotta say something.
Yeah, like it does. it says that Blip is coming back. It's gonna win. It's gonna win the whole tournament. That's what it says. Quite
possibly. I mean, who knows? It's up against some very stiff competition this year, though, so
yeah,
we shall see. But in any case, a great main event for a great episode. This one was one of the best episodes from top to bottom of this season.
Yeah, like
I am all for it.
Yeah, like non-stop hits. Fantastic episode.
On that note, we will come to the awards of the evening. Let's start this one off, Mac. Which one would you like to open with?
I would like to start with the best loser.
Well, it was a pretty easy choice on who was going to be the best loser in this episode, giving the most competitive fight and with its relentless aggression, ultimately falling short, but it was a very close one. We award best loser this week to Black Dragon.
Woo! An excellent fight. Excellent fight, excellent loser.
Fantastic fight, great performance. It may not have walked away with the win, but it definitely walked away with our respect.
Absolutely.
Great job by Black Dragon. And one of two awards that will be involved in, but we will come to this one later.
Yep.
Mac, since you started out with Best Loser, I think it's only fair then that I go with the Spike Dudley Award of the evening.
Spike Dudley.
And with that, the underdog victory of the week, the Spike Dudley Award, goes to Blip for the scale of its victory over Tantrum. I was expecting a much, much closer fight. Blip just completely dominated the fight from start to finish up against the reigning champion. Completely unexpected for me. So as a result, I feel that's more than a worthy case for the Spike Dudley Award this week.
Yeah, like, honestly, there were a couple fights that, like, could have had this. Like, Terrortops definitely could have, was in contention for it. And I think Black Quantum even as well, like, in a sense. Because, like, we didn't expect Quantum to, like, essentially go that hard against Black Dragon. Although, maybe...
It was a... it was kind of a toss-up in the pits as to who they thought was going to win, wasn't it? But it was in Black Dragon's favor.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, like a lot of strong upset wins, I guess. I'm not upset, I guess, but like you know what I mean.
Yep, I do.
Yeah.
With that, Mac, I picked one. You picked one. Pick another one. Which one?
Pick a number, any number. I picked Best Driver.
Yes. Best Driver of the week goes to the, as alluded to before, precisely controlled, relentlessly aggressive, and utterly fearless driving of John Reed as he just completely schooled Shatter on who was the true king of the Hammerbots in the world of robot combat nowadays.
He did.
Although that being said, honorable mention does have to go to Blip here.
Yeah, oh god, yeah, like, Blip, like, yeah, this was, yeah, I don't have the words.
Yeah, especially considering how well Tantrum is driven in the ordinary course of things, and Blip just completely outclassed it. The power of the original driver, as you alluded to before.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, ultimately, it's Beta and John Reed that walk away with the W on the best driver this week. Honorable mention to Blip. There was a lot of great driving to be found in this episode as well, so this was actually a very tough award to decide on. But yeah, ultimately, John, to the surprise of no one, takes yet another best driver trophy.
As you should.
Okay, so with that, we move on to the knockout of the night, and I feel like that one has to quite soundly go to Huge versus Fusion, as Fusion, tough as nails, got utterly scalped by Huge in 3 hits. And that just really speaks to the power of the big old meta-breaking monster on 2 wheels.
Yeah, Huge is a force to be reckoned with right now. So, yeah.
I guess you could say right now, it's kind of a big deal.
Mwah,
mwah, mwah.
And now we come to Fight of the Night. The big fight.
Yep, and drum roll please. It is Terrortops versus Slammo.
Oh, hell yeah, Terrortops. Good work. You got a good win.
It's Quantum versus Black Dragon. Although Terrortops did obviously give a very good account of itself. Yeah. But I digress. Quantum versus Black Dragon for its knockdown, drag out, back and forth drama throughout the episode. Great bout. Easily the fight of the night.
Absolutely. Like, it was actually edge of your seat, like, worthy. It was brilliant.
Yep, absolutely. And a very well-earned win for Quantum.
Absolutely.
One that Black Dragon made them work for. So yeah, great job, guys. Black Dragon, you walk away with 2 awards this week. And Quantum, you get a Fight of the Night honor to go with your previous ones that you've gotten as well.
Yeah, well done.
Now, with the episode over and done with, we come to our off-topic segment of the week. Mac, you know what we're going to talk about this time for the off-topic segment?
Oh, what are we going to talk about, Jack?
Well, Mac, the other night, I actually got the chance to go to a gig that was playing at the Fleece here in Bristol. Ooh. None other than Beast in Black, live in concert, with special guest Firewind. And oh my god, dude, what a show it was. That was hands down the best gig I've ever been to.
Wow, really?
Oh, yeah, dude, it was a fucking rammed event. I was not, like, I knew it would be popular. I didn't realize how many Beast in Black fans there were here in Bristol. Really? Of course, maybe some people did travel down for it, but yeah, like, the place was rammed, wall to wall. You could there was barely enough room to move.
Jeez, how big is the place?
Reasonably big. I'd say it fits like 300 people.
Oh, wow, okay.
Or but then again, I'm terrible at estimating this sort of thing, but I think there were definitely, like, at least, like, 200 to 300 people there.
Okay.
And considering it's a fairly small venue as well.
Oh, okay.
But a lot of gigs are played there. But yeah, wall to wall Beast in Black fans. It was awesome, and oh, dude, they played an absolutely killer set. Like, great showmanship from all of them. This was part of their Dark Connection tour, and yeah, they played some of their great hits as well, such as the Fifth Angel. They actually led into it with a bunch of alluding to some stuff that happens in Berserk. Beast in Black, their name actually comes from Berserk itself, the Beast of Darkness.
It's Berserk.
And also the Beast in Black. Beast in Black is also a nickname for both Guts and for the Beast of Darkness as well. So yeah, and they have a bunch of Berserk themed songs. So they played, among others, the Fifth Angel. They also played a bunch of songs from the Dark Connection album, such as Moonlight Rendezvous, which was insane. Oh my god, dude, the entire set, start to finish, was incredible. This wasn't the first time they've played in Bristol, but this was the first time I've gotten to see them live. They did express that they have plans to come back to Bristol sometime soon. I am definitely there for it when they do. I actually jammed out with a guy throughout the entire set. We didn't get each other's names or anything, but we were just rocking out throughout the whole show. And in the end, we just like patted each other on the shoulder, said, "Great gig. Hopefully, I'll see you at the next Beast one."
Oh, that's awesome! Fucking music's just bringing people together.
Absolutely. It was a great night, and I completely blew my voice out after a while as well.
And then you got sick.
Well, to be fair, I already had something up my throat when I was there. Luckily, it wasn't COVID, so it wasn't anything contagious. It may have just been a sore throat.
Yeah, very good, very good. But yeah, excellent.
Point is, everybody, if you get the chance to see Beast in Black live, go and do it. They are amazing. They are worth the time and the money. They are fantastic. A+.
Yeah, very nice. I don't know. I doubt they'll be coming down here anytime soon, but. Like if they do, like I'll definitely go. Like I haven't been to like a fucking I haven't been to a metal concert in like fucking ages.
I am gonna say this, Mac. You and the other guys on our Discord, you really should just get around to listening to Beast in Black. Me being the only one who listens to them is not a good look. They deserve more. They deserve more recognition. Zach, they're an awesome band.
Zach, you get old. I mean, yeah, okay, fine. Like, I mean, actually, are they on Spotify?
Of course they are. I mean, they've got 3 albums.
I mean, yeah, okay, you're true. Okay, look, I will give them a listen this week. I'll get back to you.
Good. That's all I ask.
There you go.
Okay, I'll send you some of their specific tracks for you to listen to as well.
Okay.
With that, everybody, we come to the end of the episode. It was a brilliant episode this week of Battlebots, a great week to be a Robot Combat fan, and just all around lots and lots of fun to be had with this one. Mac, what do we have lined up for the next episode? Do we have any idea just yet?
I'll be honest, I actually have no idea because I think I wrote down some I either wrote down some messages wrong or they changed the lineup because okay, so what I had written down for the next episode was Big Deal versus Mad Cutter, Endgame versus Hypersock, Glitz versus Lockjaw, which I think may have been moved to this episode.
It was.
Yeah, well, I mean, of course it was, but like, you know what I mean. Gruff versus Witch Doctor, Hydra versus Ripperoni, Jackpot versus Ribot, and Sawblade versus Scorpios.
I guess we'll see which one of those actually do end up taking place on this week's episode then.
Yeah, like we'll get the card like fucking Wednesday, so we'll see. We will see.
In any case, it was a great ride this week. Everybody, have a great one. We look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, so long.